Sophia lived alone in a small apartment. In her bedroom stood an antique mirror that she had inherited from her grandmother. It was massive, with a wooden frame decorated with intricate carvings. Despite the dark patina of time, the mirror always seemed beautiful to her, even cozy. One evening, getting ready for bed, Sophia glanced in the mirror. Something seemed strange to her, but she did not immediately understand what it was. She ran her hand through her hair and, turning to the bed, noticed movement in the reflection out of the corner of her eye. Her reflection was still looking into the mirror. Sophia froze. It could just be an optical illusion. She looked into the mirror again, and the reflection exactly repeated her movement. "You're just tired," she said out loud, trying not to look at the glass. But from that moment on, strange things began to happen more and more often. The next day, while cleaning her room, Sophia noticed how her reflection in the mirror turned its head faster than she did. Or when she bent down to pick up a book from the floor, her reflection remained straight for a moment. "It's just my imagination," Sophia tried to convince herself. But fear was starting to brew inside. Every night she felt like the mirror was looking at her, even if she wasn't looking at it. Sophia tried to ignore the strangeness. She covered the mirror with a blanket, tried not to look at it, but the feeling that the reflection was watching her did not go away. Every night the strangeness became worse. Sophia felt a cold coming from the mirror, even if it was closed. One day she noticed a handprint on the inside of the glass from the inside. "I'm going crazy," she whispered, erasing the print. But deep down she knew that it was not a figment of her imagination. Soon the reflection became aggressive. When she looked at the mirror, it no longer repeated her movements. It smiled when she was serious, looked at her even when she turned away. One night when she was lying in bed, a strange sound woke her. It was a scraping sound, like nails scratching glass. Sophia slowly turned her head to the mirror. The blanket she had covered him with was thrown to the floor. It wasn't her in the reflection. Her reflection was standing right in front of her, looking at her with an unnaturally wide smile. "It can't be," she whispered, clutching the sheet. And then the reflection stepped forward. The mirror didn't break, but the surface of the glass seemed to stretch like thick water. A creature that seemed to be an exact copy of Sophia stepped out. Its fingernails were long and curved, and its face was perfect. A girl screamed. Its movements were awkward like a doll's, but its eyes were shining with a cold light. It didn't take its eyes off Sophia, who froze in horror. "Who are you?" she whispered, her voice trembling. The creature didn't answer. It tilted its head to the side as if studying her, and then smiled, revealing teeth that looked too sharp to be human. The creature that had emerged from the mirror came closer. Its movements were fluid but unnatural, as if it was still getting used to this world. Sophia tried to step back, but her feet seemed rooted to the floor. "It's a dream, just a dream," she whispered, clenching her fists. Her reflection stopped right in front of her. They were face to face, and Sophia saw that the creature had her features but too distorted. Its eyes were a little wider, its smile too forced, and its skin shone like glass. "You've been looking too long," it whispered, in a voice that was similar to her own, but colder, almost empty. The creature reached out and gently touched her shoulder. At that moment, Sophia felt something inside her pulling her toward the mirror, as if the air around her had become viscous. She screamed, but no one could hear her. Her body became light as a feather, and then she felt herself falling backwards. The glass of the mirror, which had seemed solid, became liquid and swallowed her. In an instant, everything around her disappeared. Sophia found herself in a dark, cold void. She was inside the mirror, seeing the world through its distorted surface. She saw her reflection turn to the room. It was now an exact copy of her, only a little more bright. It turned to the mirror and smiled at her, as if mocking her. She turned to it. Sophia thrashed in the glass prison, trying to break out, but the reflection did not even turn around. It simply adjusted its hair, looked at itself in the mirror, and left the room, starting to live her life. Now Sophia could only watch as her place in the world was taken by a copy. Every day she saw her smiling at people, talking to friends, and she herself remained locked away, turned into an observer. When someone looked into the mirror, Sophia screamed, but no one heard her. Sometimes, if you look into the mirror for a long time, you can see the shadow of her face stuck to the glass and hear a faint whisper calling for help.